Hello, and welcome back to My Life in Film. This year is 1988, the second year of the many to follow. Again, this one showed that I did suffer not seeing many of this year's movies, where the top 6 or 7 were shoo-ins, the rest filled the gaps to what I like in film. So, in at number 10 is The Serpent and the Rainbow. I have picked this because I am a big Wes Craven fan. We have to deal with the idea of investigating voodoo. We have Bill Pullman, who is amazing to see in this movie, and just the way this movie is shot. It may not be Craven's best, but it's one that I really enjoy, and it's something outside of his franchise babies that we have seen through the years, which some have been, and the other movies that have had needless remakes, such as The Last House on the Left, The Hills Have Eyes. This is just one that has just not been touched and is really enjoyable. Number 9 is Twins. Yeah, on the last list you saw a lot of Schwarzenegger. This is the start of him stepping fully into comedy. Arnie works perfectly with Danny DeVito, who gets all of the laughs, while Arnie plays more of the serious character. The two have excellent chemistry. It's like in our modern day, we probably have Dwayne Johnson and Kevin Hart doing what these two were doing back in the 80s. Again, it's not the funniest of funny movies, but it's one that works for me. And as I said on the last one, I'm not big on comedy. This one worked for me. So, on to the movies I haven't seen. Another surprise 8, it's Heathers. Again, it's just one that has completely gone under the radar for me. Cinema Paradiso, probably the one I should see the most off this list. Coming to America, I've just had a comedy and said I don't like comedy, and there's a comedy I haven't seen. A Fish Called Wanda, this one is getting closer to being seen, but my biggest problem is I'm not the biggest fan of most of the Monty Python cast, so I'm a bit unsure whether I will like this one. Dead Ringers, a movie with a big reputation, really should have got around to seeing this. And the last one is Killer Clowns from Outer Space. I said I like trashy horror movies. How have I not put this one on my watched list yet? So there's my ones I should be trying to watch next. Number 8 is Child's Play. Just as I say I like trashy horror movies, here comes Chucky. For me, Child's Play, they all work. They have a very different tone throughout the series. Like the three Child's Plays come out as more of a continuation. Then we go into a bit of a wacky comedy with Bride, Seed, not very good. But for me, the first Child's Play is very good. And if you do want to know, I didn't mind the remake as a film. I just don't think it needed to be called Child's Play. Number 7 is Big. Tom Hanks playing a kid. Who would have thought that when you looked at his filmography through the 90s and onwards? Tom Hanks was one of the funniest guys in the 80s. It just doesn't look like someone who could pull off comedy when you look at him now. He just has perfect timing with everything. That piano sequence is one of the most iconic scenes in film, so it's one I really enjoyed. And ones from films I did enjoy to ones I didn't. I only got 2 again. We have Midnight Run and Scrooge. They're probably the 2 biggest I could find that I didn't really enjoy. I thought Midnight Run just dragged along way too long. And Scrooge, I'm not a big Bill Murray fan. Sorry. I understand that his comedy is different, but it's just not something I enjoy watching. Number 6 is Rain Man. We have Dustin Hoffman and Tom Cruise as unknown brothers who find out that they are brothers when Tom Cruise wants to continue living his life of luxury while Dustin Hoffman is stuck in a care home because of his mental disabilities. And the 2 go on a road trip and they learn to love each other even though they want to use each other for different things. One more Tom Cruise. Hoffman won the Oscar for this, I believe, and Tom Cruise probably could have because he has probably one of his hardest character arcs. Go from a selfish, arrogant character to someone who's actually a loving brother by the end of this movie. Number 5 is Mississippi Burning. And this is a strange one to see on my sort of list, a serious movie. I do like seeing how, I want to use the word naive, America has been in the past with how they've treated different people, and how the whites in Mississippi treated the blacks was a disgrace, and this movie showed just how bad it was. And this is later in time, in 1964, as you can see from the poster. We have Hackman and Defoe, two heavyweights of acting. A very interesting tale, this one. Definitely worth watching. Number 4, wow, that's a change of tone. The Land Before Time. One of the very first movies I ever saw. I absolutely loved this movie as a kid. It may well be one of the most heartbreaking movies, where we find all the baby dinosaurs trying to find their parents after being attacked by the baddie T-Rex. It's so hard to watch, so beautifully shot. I know there's a lot of terrible, terrible sequels to this movie, but the first one, perfect little movie. Number 3 is They Live. As Roddy Piper said himself, I'm here to chew bubblegum and kick ass, and I'm all out of bubblegum. Probably misquoted, as many people say it's one of the most misquoted movie lines in history, but for what it does, this movie, it's showing the subliminal messaging being sent to everyone, and the sunglasses show everything with the obeys, follow, and the aliens watching over the humans. I absolutely love this movie. I think it's one of Carpenter's very best. Number 2, where do we go with The Grave of the Fireflies? When you think of Studio Ghibli, you have the best animated company in the world. Sorry, Disney. A lot of their movies are very dark tales, but told in a very comedic way at times. Like Spirited Away can have it. Princess Mononoke has a beautifully visual one. Grave of the Fireflies. Wow. If you watch this movie and you are not emotionally traumatized by the end of it, there is something wrong with you. It is one of the most heartbreaking, devastating movies you're ever going to see in your life. It's an absolute must-watch for anyone who needs to see animation at its very peak. And you even get some part of a history lesson, learning how difficult it would have been for orphan children during the war when they had nowhere to go. Just watch and try not to cry by the end of this movie. Number 1 is Die Hard. Well, was it going to be anything else? When John McClane said, "Welcome to the party, pal," we were never going to think this movie was going to become the iconic movie it was. Not only is Bruce Willis fantastic, Alan Rickman stepped into movies for the first time, stole the show as the villainous Hans Gruber. And it's just everything about this movie. It lets every character get some form of development. It isn't just Bruce Willis. There's a baddie, kill him. Go to the next level, kill someone. You learn about these characters and what their motivations are. It is one of the greatest action movies of all time. Has to be number 1. Let's be honest. So let me know what your favourite movies from 1988 are. Which other ones you think could have made the list that haven't made the list. And until next time, when we come back for 1989, thank you all for watching. Goodbye.